turn the microphone.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maurel. I'm a student from ISAE Superior in France. And I'm here to talk about the case of the Altmeister asteroid family that Boyan Novakovic and I studied during the last 4 months. So, the outline of my presentation will be relatively simple. After a few details about the Altmeister family, I will describe our procedures in the study and then we'll deep through unexpected and very interesting results. So one could ask, why did we choose the Altmeister family? Well, according to the data from Stardust database, the family has this peculiar shape in the proper semi-major axis inclination plane. As you can see, we can distinguish two different parts in this family. The right one, which is certainly the unperturbed evolution of the initial elliptical distribution of the family, and this part, which presents a clear diffusion in inclination, that is probably the result of a dynamical mechanism happening here. But actually, if we plot the Lyapunov characteristic exponent of the members of this family, we cannot see any features which could explain this diffusion in inclination. So something is probably missing in our first picture, dynamical picture of this region. So the Altmeister family is located in the middle of the main belt between two powerful mean motion resonance, 3 - 1 - 1 and 5 to 2. But that we can immediately put those resonances aside as potential cause of this diffusion, as they appear to be too far from it. And also, if we plot the family in the semi-major axis 1/d plane, we cannot see any clear alignment along these resonances, meaning that only the smallest objects are currently reaching these resonances. So we did not consider this resonance as a potential cause. So what should be the cause of this dispersion? Our first and main hypothesis was the fact that the secular resonance Z1 is crossing the region where the Altmeister family is lying. So this resonance is occurring when the combination of secular frequencies you see here is close to 0. And so we can postulate that this resonance should be the main perturber of the family in inclination. Also, we noticed the proximity of the family with the massive asteroid Ceres. As you can see, some members are sharing the same semi-major axis as Ceres. So it will be taken into account in this figure. Now, let's move on our methodology, which can be described in 4 main steps. The first one, of course, is the identification of the family, and for this we used the well-known method, the well-known hierarchical clustering method, and to choose the velocity cutoff reasonable for our study, we selected the middle value in the range of velocity cutoff, giving a similar number of members, so 35 meters per second, and identified about 1,700 members. The second step was to collect the physical data about the Altmeister family, and WISE and SDSS database were our main resources. They informed us about the general C-type of most of the members of the Altmeister family, and also provided an average altitude of this family of 0.04. These two information helped us to identify some potential interlopers in the family, but actually, as you see, there were very few. And also, as I will explain in a few seconds, they will help us to implement Jakovsky drift in our integration. So, in order to isolate, first identify and isolate the mechanism or mechanisms responsible for the shape main perturbers, plus a barocentric correction for the effect of inner planet. To this base case, we add different potential perturbing systems. On the one hand, we have cirrus as the main perturbers, like the giant planets are. On the other hand, we have the Jakobsky effect. And to have a complete model, we perform also integration under a complete model with cirrus and with the Jakobsky effect. Here, I'll plotted the Lyapunov exponent for the semi-major axis of our test particles. And as you can already see, cirrus appears to be the main mechanism which brings the chaos in this region, as the Lyapunov exponent is twice the value with cirrus and without cirrus. So it will be definitely taken into account in our study. And finally, the last step was the integration itself. We performed it over 300 million years, which is the current locked approximation of the age of this family. So we performed it 4 times under our 4 dynamical model using the orbit multi-integrator. We generated our test particles in agreement with the size distribution of the real family using our average algorithm before. And for the models including a Jakobsky bridge, we use a reference value that you can see here to scale all the drift for all our test particles that we generated. The number of particles we used is equal to the number of family members, real family members, after removing interlopers. And finally, we calculate the synthetic proton elements every 10 million years to get their evolution in time. But now, let me walk you through our results. For the moment, all the results I present are obtained under the complete dynamical model, meaning with the Jakobsky effect and with cirrus. The first thing that comes to mind when we think to cirrus and its proximity with the family is close encounters with this massive asteroid. But first of all, we know that close encounters mostly affect semi-major axis. And secondly, if in one way or another the close encounters were responsible for this diffusion, we should see in this diffusion a symmetric form with respect to the semi-major axis of cirrus as the Lyapunov exponent reminds us. So, knowing that, we decided to rule out this effect as an explanation of this diffusion. Thinking about cirrus, we can also expect somebody to be in one-to-one mean motion with this asteroid. But again, this mean motion resonance mostly affects the major axis, and also, as the Lyapunov exponent also remains, this mean motion resonance is happening in the most stable area of the region, meaning that it's not likely that it causes this diffusion. So we can also rule this effect out. Let's go now to our main hypothesis. Here I plotted our test particles in the GS frequencies plane. So if most of the family members are located in this compact area, you can probably see this linear trend here, which is actually located in where the Z1 is also located in this plane. So meaning that somebody are probably caught in Z1. To confirm that, we picked one of these asteroids and checked its critical angles for the secular resonance Z1, and we found a clear libration starting around 160 million years. So, meaning that this object is, of course, caught in Z1. And if we overplot the mean eccentricity and inclination over time of this asteroid, explained by Z1 as the critical angle is perfectly circulating in this radial time. So it would mean that something else is actually acting on inclination of this particle and more generally of the members of this family, and that Z1 may have only a second-hand effect on this diffusion. This is where the comparison between our different dynamical models will be useful. Let me show you an animation representing our test particles integrated over a model with Sears and with Yarkovsky, dark dots, and without Sears and with Yarkovsky, the light dots, in the first million years of integration. As you can see, if the light dots remains clearly compact, the dark dots are immediately jumping in inclination, meaning that Cirrus could be the main perturber of the Hofmeister family in inclination. But we check close encounters, and we check one-to-one mean motion resonance with this asteroid and work them out. So what other mechanism involved in Cirrus could be responsible for this diffusion? Well, let's go back to our frequencies plane. And I'm asking you a question. Can you see another interesting features in this plane? Because actually, we noticed another one, which is this horizontal alignment here. And this alignment is actually located at minus 59.2 approximately, which is the secular resonance, the secular frequency of Cirrus. Meaning that here, we could have the proof of the action of a secular resonance with Cirrus on the Hofmeister family. Of course, we have to confirm that. So let's take our particles that we choose before and plot this time the evolution of the critical angle for this S minus S series. Secular resonance. And what happened? A clear libration of this angle. And moreover, above all, this clear libration is perfectly corresponding with the jump in inclination for this particle. Meaning that here, we have the first proof of the efficiency of a secular resonance between a massive asteroids and the asteroids of a family. To end this presentation, I would like to show you this reconstruction of the evolution of one of our test particles. It is represented by this small square here. So first, the particle is pushed toward the sun by the Yarkovsky effect. Okay, nothing new. But when it reaches the area where we located the secular resonance, its inclination is immediately jumping. And then the particle is pulled over this resonance by the Yarkovsky effect and reaches after that Z1, where it remains cold until the end of our year 200 million years. So if we plot the complete path of these particles, it once again confirms that the secular resonance with Cirrus is actually explaining the main diffusion in inclination for the members of the Hofmeister family. So to summarize a little bit this presentation, we have now the explanation for the shape of the Hofmeister family in the proper element space, which is a combination of Yarkovsky effect and first this secular resonance with Cirrus, which is pushing up and down the asteroids, and for the asteroids which were pushed up, they finally reach Z1, which is dispersing them in this proper semi-major axis inclination and also eccentricity plane. So this stage is the first identification of a secular resonance with a massive asteroid, which is actually the main perturber of an asteroid family. And of course, it opens new perspective for the study of small bodies in other regions of the main belt and maybe above that But actually, if we...
Yes, I'm saying that the initial rejection wouldn't already place bodies there.
Better show the
Yes.
V-shape.
Okay, the V shape.
You show the V-shape.
Well,
because the
it's
V-shape
possible
is better.
that some bodies were injected immediately.
Yeah, I'm just saying that some bodies could have been injected immediately, otherwise,
Possible.
which in any case would give you some small
If we trust the
variation in
simulation,
dimension. So the main thing, the secular resonance with cells is there, even without the there.
And anyway, the point is that
The contribution is different.
this V-shape is perfectly regular, there's nothing. So the semi-major axis has nothing special.
Yes.
And therefore, we can compute very well. The age is 330 plus minus 70.
Okay,
Put it
okay,
in.
that
But if you look in
that
the,
was the main thing.
if you look in the eccentricity, there's nothing.
Yes, sure.
Look inclination is something, so the argument must be omega,
No,
capital
I agree
omega,
with
minus
you. I'm just
something.
trying to understand.
And they found that the point is that you have to find which is the other body who provides the other omega.
Sure.
It's not trivial.
So the comment was about that you have this thin stripe and then you have Z1, and you have a big cloud of objects. Anyway, so you need the Yarkov in order to go through the small stripe and then
well,
reach
if
the
we
dispersive region.
look at our integration and our prediction, actually, there were already bodies, if we trust this
Yeah,
simulation,
sure.
there were already bodies in the location.
And
after
they get the correct
And they were-
eye. But then you need to shift
Yeah,
the
they're-
in
they're
order to
spreading
produce
a-
a much wider cloud.
Yeah, exactly.
And to match the shape.
Yeah.
Okay, there are not any...
So this was a paradox because the age looked very good.
Yes.
But the shape of the family was not easy to reconcile with the standard positional model because it's a family shape.
Sure.
So it must be altered by two
No,
things. One is acrostic.
That's a very interesting piece that Z1 is not enough. That was the
No, Z1 is almost technical at the top.
Okay.
It's not really very close.
Okay, so then the whole jumping inclination is simply because you shift through the
Only
stripe of
because it
series.
Just a short Arizona.
Well, I wanted just to say a couple of sentences which are directed to the students of Stardust. Clara arrived to Belgrade 3 months ago. Before, she didn't have any experience whatsoever in celestial mechanics, with families, with Yarkovsky, nothing. So this is the result of her 3 months hard work. So take
This is a warning from the boss.
Of course, we have also to acknowledge the contribution of Boyan, who was working hard. Clara, but most of the work was done by herself.
Thank you.